Welcome to the podcast where we're harvesting humor, planting delight. Join us, Iona and Cammy. Let's have some fun. It's time for Fed by Farmers.
Hello and welcome to the Fed by Farmers podcast with me, Cammy Wilson.
And me, Iona Murray.
We are back with another instalment of our weekly interviews. This time we have Thomas Murdoch here, a fellow Ayrshire farmer. He has dairy and he has chickens. He has eggs. So he's going to tell us a bit about that. He's going to tell us a lot about that, actually. This is actually a fantastic interview. Very open.
Yeah, really open, honest.
We talk about the numbers.
Yep.
We talk about the money involved. I love podcasts like that. Before we talk about the money involved, who do we need to thank?
We need to thank Herdwatch and Crystalyx.
I registered my first calf with Herdwatch this week. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll put a very wee quick screen recording of it up and how simple it was. Links to Scott EID.
So good.
So you just put the details of the calf in,
Boom.
click register with Scott EID, done.
So good.
Done on my phone in the yard in 2 minutes. Like,
So good.
yeah, it's good. It's
That's
good.
game changer for farmers.
Oh, yeah, it was. I didn't even realise it did that until James Nisbet said I should
that's
know all
right.
these things. But, you know, I'm blasé. I just charge on. I muddle my way through life. But shout out to Herdwatch for sponsoring the podcast. And, we need to get, like, our Herdwatch. We've got a wee Herdwatch thing made up and all that. We need to get all that in the studio.
What?
There's that wee Herdwatch sheep thing with the branding on it for behind us.
I
then
didn't realise that was for in here.
And then the Crystalyx tubs.
With the wee sheep on top.
Need to
Yeah.
get all that. Then that on top.
Yeah,
we'll have
nice.
that. You guys will be like, if only they had Crystalyx tubs. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. And shout out to Crystalyx as well. Of course, we're into our high energy. I just put my cattle outside and they are on the green bucket, which I think is magnesium
Okay.
based, and it helps with,
Magnesium's good for humans as well.
I think it stops grass staggers. So
Okay.
that's why they're on the green bucket there. So shout out to them. Now, before we start, I
I thought you were about to say I've not hit record.
No, I've hit record. What we should say, or we'll just do the interview and then we chat after. I think that's better.
Okay.
It's a long interview, this one, because and it could have went on longer, but I've got to think about the editing side of things. So let's dive into Thomas, so to speak, if you're into that sort of thing, and then we'll come back to us and have a wee blather, a wee catch up. Here we go. We're into it now. We're joined by Mr. Thomas Murdoch. Thomas, great to have you here. An Ayrshire lad. Getting into the social media. I think I want to picked you up on TikTok. Is that what you saw him on TikTok?
Well, no. So I knew, so I know your
you
wife.
messaged Chelsea before about coming on.
Yes.
She said you were drunk at your show or something. Was it drunk? Or she was drunk at your
Yeah,
show?
and she said,
And
oh
she's
my
like,
goodness,
no.
that's right, that's right.
She's like, no, the now.
Last
and then
year.
She said, you messaged again. And I was like, aye, bugger it.
Yeah,
We've
'cause I
got
saw-
something to talk about, so.
Yeah,
Go
because I
for it.
saw your post about, we're straight into it now, about purchasing a farm.
Aye. So I would start it as a neighbouring farm. We've already got a dairy farm with hens and stuff. That was my dad's farm, essentially. And this opportunity came up. Timing was perfect, but not perfect in a way, like in terms of we just paid off this hen shed that we built. I think it's been 8 years now. We just paid it off last year, so we had a bit of cash in the bank now, and we could look at it. But before, if it was like a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to. I was still paying off the hen shed, essentially, you know.
Right, okay.
So I wouldn't have had any. I wouldn't have had a deposit because I think 90% of the money was borrowed.
Right, okay.
Oxbury were really good. They were one of the few banks that would. Yeah, most folk want a bit more.
Yeah.
So
What percentage did they do you?
25? 25 years, 2% above base.
No, but the deposit, sorry.
Well, how much?
Yeah, what deposit did they want off you?
I think it was they do 100%.
Oh, for the hen sheds?
No, so the hen sheds were financed via Glenrath Farms, and you sell them the eggs to pay it off, and that's basically what we did. So now we're in a positive where our egg sales went into our bank account rather than just paying off a debt.
Right, okay.
So we had a bit of money in the bank to then say, right, we've got a bit of money, we've got cash flows. We didn't have to make a business plan, which was good because we already had a business, and essentially we're buying this farm and we're going to use the eggs from that shed to pay off this farm over, I think it's a 25-year time frame. We're hoping to do it a bit quicker, but we just spread it over 25 years to bring your payments. Your monthly payments low because egg prices could crash and then you're sitting.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's a guy, I think he's like Japanese American, and he talks about like his whole business is built off the back of debt, And it's like debt's a great thing because there's no tax on debt.
Yeah.
It's his thing. But one of his things is when you're borrowing, even if you look at it and say, oh, I could like the monthly payment's £1,000 a month, and you think, oh, I could pay £2,000 a month.
Aye.
Take it at £1,000 a month.
Aye.
And then put the other 1,000 away. And if you can do it,
Aye.
overpay it.
Well,
But at least if you've taken it for
Yeah.
25 years, if things get tight.
yeah, that's
Whereas if
basically-
you take it over 12 years and then you need to phone the bank and say, actually,
I need more.
can we stretch that to 25? It's so much
Aye,
more
it's
awkward.
harder.
Yeah.
So we went through a broker. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention their names. I can't remember the contract, but I'll mention it was Anne Anderson from
Rural Finance.
Rural Finance.
Aye.
She was
They'll
brilliant.
be fine about that.
I wasn't sure. I can't remember the contracts, but she was really good.
They'll be delighted if you mention them.
Hopefully they'll give me a discount.
aye. Aye, steady. They'll not be that happy.
But she was really good. She was like she basically said, look, we talked about a kind of ballpark figure. We knew how much she was looking for the farm. So she said, right, we need this from you, this from you, this from you. You need to go to your accountants, blah blah blah. Get your last 3 years' financial statements. So then she also said that most banks will look at that and say, right, the value of the farm is this much. They'll take 70% of that value. Let's say it was £1 million. They'll take 700,000 as security. So you'll need to find the other 300 as security, and whether that's cash deposit or, luckily in my case, my dad
You've got the assets.
a bit of.
Yeah.
He had some different bits of land and different deeds, so we could use one of that. So I was really lucky that way.
Okay.
We could still have got it, but the bank would see that as higher risk, and that would be higher interest rate.
Okay.
So it wasn't impossible. It's not like, oh, if we didn't already have my dad and his farm, this isn't not doable. It was doable, but it was via. It just means that we can get a cheaper interest rate, really. You know.
Yeah.
Aye, and you don't have to put any cash down.
We put a wee bit of cash, just to what we had, basically as much as we could, just at the start of the deposit. Keep a little bit to just make the monthly payments, because eggs we get a payment every month. It's quite good, so we've got a bit of cash flow now, so we can meet our minimum requirement, and we're on a variable rate. So if, like say, in 6 months' time, we've got a bit of spare cash, we'd like to put a bit more in, we can. If it's a fixed rate, you can't do that. I think you just have to stick to your.
Fixed rate, I think you can only overpay like 10% a year or something. It's
Is
more
that what it
limited.
is?
Aye,
Oh,
you
right,
can
okay.
overpay slightly, but not too much, or you
Right.
get penalised.
They'll
there's-
fine you or something.
Yeah,
like
there
that.
is something about that with a fixed rate.
Is there,
I was going to say, but I mean, it's one of those things you say that, but like, I mean, I've thought about it here. If we could get our thing flowing, social media grows and all that, it's like, oh, I'd like to overpay, but then, going back to that book and what some business people would tell you is actually your money's better in the next venture. You're actually better rather than paying off the mortgage, building another hen shed.
Well, before we even before we get the opportunity to farm, we're already planning. We had planning in for another hen shed. We're hoping to have it through, and that was this year's project essentially. So when he came in, I was like, no, I was hoping to pay this off quicker.
Yeah,
and then I would have
yeah.
a bit more on him. But it's one of the ones. And right now, I was a bit like, we don't really need this farm right now, maybe. But in 10 years' time, I'd be kicking myself, because it's a neighbouring farm. Lies into is.
yeah.
I just know if we didn't go for it, it's a great opportunity. It's never been up for sale. My dad's 62. It's never been up for sale in his life.
Yeah.
And it's right in between. There's our farm. My uncle's got a farm, separate business. This is right in the middle of the two.
So where are you farming?
Just outside Saltcoats. You do a bit of scanning up at Nacrivock, Hogarth.
Oh, yeah.
Just along the road.
Are you same kind of grun as they've got?
Oh, best of gear.
Aye.
It's not as good as here. I don't think.
That's
I don't
good
know
grun.
if I'm
Oh, no,
doing-
this is there's no many places you can hear that.
You could probably grow twice as much on here as what we would. The new farm, what I would say, and I was going to ask on the podcast, because you'll get listeners with comments and stuff. If there's anyone listening, there's a lot of like peat land that we've bought. There's maybe like 50 acres or something. High carbon, I'm sure. How do you know how do you sell that? Is anyone listening
To get the carbon credits.
Get your
or
carbon
whatever.
credits? Aye.
Well, passing that, I mean, I think there's been a lot of talk for a few years now about farmers potentially carbon credits and being able to sell off to other companies, but none of it's came to the fore just now, and we're probably getting towards a tipping point of where actually all that's going to be patched, because like the world's moving to the right.
Aye, it's
pretty
going
quick.
the other way now.
And
aye.
actually, the big talking point isn't the environment anymore. The big talking point's the war here and there. It's the
security
tariffs
and stuff.
It's,
Aye.
it's what's happening. I mean, Trump's already pulled out the Paris Agreement, and it then means if America's not doing it, how's because the money they put in props up the whole thing. Because poor countries can't do it. You know, in terms of the climate targets.
Aye.
Like poor countries can't do it unless rich countries give them the money.
Aye.
So, and if America, being one of the biggest donors out there, is pulled out, the rest of us are kind of like, well, we're kind of pissing into the wind. What's, you know?
Is that why America want Greenland though? They're still kind of wanting to go electric.
No, Greenland's. There's two reasons for the Greenland thing. One's a military. I mean, they've already got a base there.
They've got a lot of minerals or something.
It's that. It's, yeah.
For like batteries, so they're still.
Yeah, I think there's some talk Greenland's got more minerals than. Like Greenland itself has more minerals. If America got Greenland, it would have more of these rare earth minerals than China has tied up just now. So that's a big part of that.
Aye.
So rare earth minerals, what are we using them for?
Like the things like cobalt and lithium, and it's like batteries for your Teslas and your electric
The
cars.
future, the next 50 years worth of
chips,
industry.
microchips, and all that.
So
which
they
is
all
going to
come
be
from natural resources.
well, I mean, technically everything's made from.
Natural.
Like everything's made from natural resources, but we make it into an unnatural thing. If you know what I mean, like everything's made from minerals, and we melt them down, and we mess about with the chemistry of it all.
But then will that be a finite resource?
Oh, absolutely, aye.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, there's tons of it. But again, it's not an essential. Like I'd argue, oil is more essential than a lot of these things they're fighting about.
But I don't think you can beat oil still. Like it's,
No,
just
you can't.
it's so hard to
Can he?
beat it.
And you speak to one person, there's enough to do as another 1,000 years. Another person, there's enough to do as another 100 years. Like, it's,
Well, they say by the year 2080, the global population would have peaked. That's why we want to get the hen sheds up now and get them paid off. Because once it's peaked, demand's going to really slump.
well, actually, demand. I think the eggs are. I listened to another podcast talking about. He talks about food trends and like all the big fake meat businesses, corn, Beyond Meat. All these investors are pulling out rapid.
Are they?
Because they've realised they tried to push this processed food,
Yeah.
this push the lies about farming is destroying the planet and get everybody to convert. It's not worked. People have seen that, you know, there's this new generation coming through. I don't know if they call them millennials or Gen Z, maybe they call them. They want protein in whole foods. So they want...
You want clean. There's a big like, fitness trend now, and I feel like just natural protein is a good sell.
They want eggs.
Yeah.
They want eggs. They
Natural,
want red
kind
meat.
of proper food. Nothing.
Yeah.
Proper food.
When you look
Exactly.
at the ingredients, it says egg.
And fats as well. But a lot of young people now are realising that this zero fat is an absolute con.
Yeah.
Because like yogurts will say 0% fat, but they're
Aye.
18 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
High protein yogurts are a big seller because
Quark.
we do our milk to Graham's, and their biggest market right now is protein.
Graham's
Really?
Quark.
Yeah.
I would have that now and again. Yeah, Quark.
We've actually started. They've got new contracts coming out, and they're starting to pay us for a premium for protein if you can breed cows.
So you're going to need to buy some.
Really?
What's the cattle that Cheddar cheese have? Cheddar. That's terrible. They've got Swiss Brown,
Are they high protein?
high protein.
We tried Norwegian Reds. It's supposed to be high
I
protein.
suppose it's probably quite a similar.
We've
cat
dabbled
beast.
about with
Aye.
different, or kind of Montbelliard, like Doogie next
Yeah,
door.
yeah.
You see him doing well, and you're like, must be the cows that are doing well. So you start breeding them, and you're like, they're all right. They're not that good. So you go back to Holstein. You go mix and match. We've tried some Norwegian Reds. Then now we're milking them and
Oh, are you and crossing them over?
crossing them over. Yes, it's like they call it a pro cross, where it's like Holstein, Montbelliard, Norwegian Red, and then you just keep that cycle going. So I think this is us doing our first full cycle, and then we just see what the results are.
And do you just work with Genus or somebody and they sort it out for you? Like,
I do all the AI in.
Crystalyx Extra High Energy feed blocks have been providing high energy supplementation to ewes, lambs and rams in the UK since 1978. Packed full of protein, vitamins, minerals and trace elements, Crystalyx Extra High Energy has been proven to increase live lamb numbers and improve lamb daily live weight gain at a cost of only 4 to 7 pence per ewe per day. To view the full Crystalyx range and find your nearest stockist, visit crystalyx-global.com.
We do get Genus to do the heifers. I struggle.
you've done your AI course? You do all the AI?
I did it. Sorry, still rubbish.
Aye.
After I did it, I still didn't know, but I knew a wee
Right,
bit.
okay.
Basically, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but they have the inside of the cow on a table,
Right.
and that was the biggest thing I took away from it. Is you could see what's because my dad tried to kind of talk me through it,
Aye.
and sorry, we'll cut this bit.
It's okay.
Right.
Have a
Have a
wee
cough.
drink. Yeah, it's the ginger. The ginger. So having a wee ginger beer here, it gets it back of your throat.
It's the whiskey.
You know, whiskey in
it's
it.
the whiskey. So I was doing it. Dad just tried to talk me through. And he's like saying, "Oh, it's like a wee sausage or something you're feeling for." And your hands in there, it's just like mush.
Yeah.
He's telling me, it's a sausage or it's like a wee tube. Or I was like, what one is it? They're different things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my eye course. Because before then, we just worked with bulls. My dad did it back in the 80s and stuff. He was right into it, but he get fed up going to the eye cow at 10 o'clock at night. So he's like, I bucket this, chuck the bull in. And especially when he had a young family, that was myself, I've got 4 sisters and stuff. So he just kind of gave up on the whole process. But I was like, right, I'm young, I'm keen, I want to breed better. You go to these farms to do stock judgings and the cows were miles ahead of what we were doing. So that's why I had to get into it. So I did the course, came back to the course, still didn't know. Just thought, well, just need to keep trying. I think the first 30 cows I did, only one settled when we scanned them. I was heartbreaking.
Aye.
But you just keep soldiering on, and then it's like half of them started to settle. Like after, I think the next 30 I did, I think I got 15 or 18.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not bad. Actually, that's me getting... I'm getting up here, and I was getting more confident. I was going into them like, I can do this. I've got this. And that was me. Now I'll be winning 30 that I can't do.
That's brilliant. And how many cows have you got?
So we're milking 150. I would like to expand, but there's not really much margin for... Like Graham's don't want more milk at the minute.
Okay.
Unless you want to milk jerseys, that's kind of where it's at. So we bought this farm. I think 5-10 years we would like to double the dairy herd. Like we've got an old parlour, old setup.
Okay.
It would ease a lot of the workload if we were to do a kind of new setup for everything, or we just reduce. I don't know whether to go parlour, robots. It's the big debate for me. But I can't decide.
Rotaries are getting popular, eh?
I do like. I would like a small milked one in New Zealand, and I thought if we do it, so I'm kind of holding off, thinking if I can get justify. I think how many cows do you need to justify a 40 rotary? The comments can
you
fill
need
us in.
250 anyway.
I
Plus.
think so. That's
plus probably.
Probably 300 at least. And then Dad's like, do you really want to get up at 2 a.m. and calve all the cows? Like, that's when they choose to calves off them.
Well, there's an argument for you. You're working away 150 now, which is probably getting on the smaller side of a lot of, even for Ayrshire now. There's not many below 150.
I think the average in Scotland's 230 now.
Is it?
Aye.
And Dumfries and Galloway prop up most of that because that's where the massive, thousands of cows are. Ayrshire's probably about the 200 average, I would think. I think we're slightly below national average because we have we can grow a lot of grass on small acres.
Oh, great area for that.
But you've got these hen sheds. Many hen sheds you got?
We've got one now. We're planning to build a second one, and then that's one thing I'm sure about. We're second one, and now we've got this new bit of land. We might as well stick one up on it and get it paying as well.
And how many chickens are in one shed?
30. You can do it's up to, when you're getting into chickens, you don't start with 10 or 20.
Yeah.
Like you start with 30,000. That's the kind of, when Glenrath came to us and said, would you like the opportunity? Because they were wanting to spread out their chickens for disease risk.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, what if we do 16,000, just do half? No, it's 30,000 or that's it.
Right, okay.
That's what you're starting with.
And that's 2 million a shed?
It is now. When we put up the first one, it was I think it was 1.1. I think we're getting quotes for the second one at 1.6, 1.7. It depends on how you want to spec. You can really go all out, and you can spend 2 million if you want to spend 2 million. But like Sir John Campbell, he was quite good as a mentor. Like Glenrath, you always keep the cost down. If you don't need it, don't.
Yeah.
So he was really good. To be fair, he's had a big impact on me and how I want to progress and stuff. So yeah, second shed this year, and then potentially a third shed, and then hopefully by the time we're running that, if we can run it all and get staff and do it as efficiently as we're doing the first one, we can then start to look at the dairy and say, well, maybe I've made a mind up whether a robot's a rotary by that point.
Yeah.
Is it Big Daddy, Poor Daddy you're talking about?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Though. Going back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So John was always don't be scared to get into debt.
Okay.
Right? Don't be scared. You've obviously it means good debt. Like don't go and put it all in red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But good debt in terms of land is property, sheds that are going to create a cash flow. Like we would hopefully pay it off in 10 years. That's a kind of new shed, but that's our kind of aim, 10 to 15 years. But like you say, if you can spread it over 20, it gives you a bit of way leave if you were to like if you were through hard times.
So is it bringing in like about 100,000 a year?
I think
way more.
it's up and down. Right now it's way more, but like 2 years ago, I think we made $2 grand
There's a lot
profit.
of
$3
outgoings
grand.
too.
Yeah, you get your feed and everything.
You know what I mean? Like you'll be
Yeah.
you could be 100,000
Aye.
a month in feed, or between two sheds. I don't know.
With
Was
16.
it 3,000 a week? Was it? Alan told us what he
We're
was for
about
feed.
he will be because he's got 4 sheds. I think per shed. I think it's about £300 a ton, 275 a ton we're paying now.
Right.
4 ton a day, and then so if you put up
12
another
£1 a
shed,
day.
that's 8 ton a day. But your egg sales right now. I spoke to my wife before I came here and says, "Do we talk about money?" Because
Well, listen, everybody knows.
old
That,
school doesn't talk about money,
Yeah.
and I don't know why.
oh, it's
There
terrible.
obviously there's a bit of.
Yep.
I'm not really sure. They don't say why. You just don't. It's just
Yeah.
kind of you don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you said in the last podcast you had your guests in talking about, I think they were 14 grand a month, and I said to Iona, oh, that made me feel better.
Yeah,
I think
hearing.
mine's was like 10 grand a month for the new farm.
Oh, the mortgage.
Yeah,
yeah.
hearing that made. Yeah,
Aye,
made
with Andrew
me
Morris.
better.
Yeah. And Jojo.
So I was like, I'm not as bad as that.
Yeah, but it's good. I think it's
But
good.
it was a
to
big
be
thing with me
open.
trying to get into farming. Nobody wants to talk about money.
Nah.
Like you say.
Well, the thing is,
nobody
land
wants to-
doesn't actually, see when we bought the farm, you're looking at it like, how can we make money?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we'll grow grass and we'll milk cows or we'll put some beef or sheep. Like, I phoned up some of my pals, I've not got any sheep, so I phoned up my pals, say, how much would I get for wintering? Because the guy right now is wintering. So how many sheep can you stock on? What do you get? They're talking about pence. Oh, 70p a week for a sheep. I was
Yeah, I'll give you 75.
Start the bidding. Start the bidding. So I was like, how the hell am I going to pay this off? It's like £5 grand an acre or something, you know?
But like land can't be paid off with farming.
No, I can't.
No.
It's important. I just think I was like, see when they go on Ireland and it's 20. Like, how?
Aye, it's not.
Yeah, I know.
It has to just be. You're not buying a farm as a
To
way
farm.
to make money.
We're buying it for opportunity. So
Yeah.
Well,
like, say
you're
we can
buying
do
it
the
because you
hens.
have the money already.
Aye.
In a way, you have
Aye.
the business already.
Aye.
So you're. Whereas, you know, like me buying this place right now, folk for the outside will think, oh, it's ridiculous. It's just shy of £1 million. And there's only 16 acres. But it is so much easier for me to pay the
it's
mortgage on a
central for you
steady.
as well if you're renting around about.
No, but I
and
mean,
stuff.
like, it's so much easier to make sheds. And there's 2 houses on here, so there's a holiday cottage.
Aye.
So the holiday cottage did £3.5 grand last month.
Oh, right, okay.
So
aye.
like it's whereas £1 million, let's say about here gets you 100 acre.
Yeah.
How do you make £5 grand a month off 100 acre?
Aye. Well, there's a shed you've got
Yeah.
to protect because you
Sheds can
mentioned,
be rented out.
you
Slatted
mentioned
shed.
about the
all
bed
that.
and breakfast side of things and
Yeah.
stuff as well. Because I think, is it Andrew White who was on? Is that his name? Andrew White?
Right.
Andrew Wright from Farm Theory.
Right,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Apologies,
No, it's all right.
I really like him. Big fan of his. He goes into a lot of money, financial side of things.
It's
as well.
great, and
Yeah.
it's not.
It's really-
He's
it's
not
really
feared to say
interesting.
that he's making good money, and I like him because he's not feared to say he only works 30 hours a week as well. You know, most farmers it's all about like trying to show off how hard you work.
Aye.
Whereas
Yeah.
he's just like, I do 30 hours a week. I go
I'm
swimming.
just going my work here, make it look like I'm still a chef.
Not
She's
gonna
like,
believe
nah, you're wearing this, you're wearing your Zara jeans. I was like, gonna look like a pleb.
Must be a hen shed thing. Alan was the same.
Yeah.
Alan wore a fed actually. Alan wore his
said he
fed
got-
stuff.
yeah,
That's-
that's
I was looking into a fed by farmers like quarters it,
yeah.
and it was like £80. I was like,
80 quid.
is it no? That's what the wee boy said to me. The boy said to me last night, I was going to get one, but he said it was £80.
No.
No,
Was that
no,
a lot?
80
40
quid.
quid.
All right, was it £40? Maybe he's
Yeah.
getting 2. I don't know.
Aye, must
Maybe.
have.
He said to me last night, I was going to get one. He's like, a wee lad was
Aye.
15. We Archie. He said he wanted a shout out.
Shout out, Archie.
He's brilliant, baby. He's really good with everything, milking, wee tractor drives, and obviously he doesn't go on the roads
Obviously.
or nothing. But he's really shit hot. No, he was like, oh yeah, I was going to get one, but I'm just I need more for milkings and stuff to pay for it. And I was like, all right, was it got a Stone Island badge on the side or something?
No.
This is a big brand.
45.
45, is that what it is? Right,
Yes.
so apologies. I didn't actually look up.
But he probably does need more for milking anyway.
Aye, maybe, yeah.
Poor guy. Shout out to Archie. Keep pushing for
I
that
need more
pay
for the
rise.
milk.
Aye, push for that pay rise, mate.
So what? How much was the farm?
It was 1 point. I think all I know is about just over 1.5
Okay.
million.
And
but
how many acres is that?
it's 300, just over 300. I think there's 20 acres of trees. There's a lot of moss, a lot of stuff that you probably you can't go in. Like, it's just rashes. We're just looking. Well, we can put the hen shed in the high bit, and then you have to plant trees with hen shed anyway. So maybe just put some trees in there, or we can plant trees and get carbon credits if that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's what we're just looking what to do with that bit now.
Yeah,
The rest of it, I think there's 7 acres we're renting out to Dougie Hogarth. He was renting it anyway for the last 6-7 years. So because it's so much land, like we're 150 cows, we'd really need to go up to 300 now if we were to start farming, because it takes us up to about 700 acres all in now. And we're just not got the animals. It's like, I could go to the market, but right now it's just a bad time to get into beef. Like everything's so much money. So we'll wait till everything settles and then go from there.
And how many acres do you need for a hen shed? 40 acres for 30,000?
You need about, for every 1,000, you need about 32 acres for 32,000.
Okay.
We were looking potentially, it's like you can put a 64 on the new farm. There's a good bit at the back. It's just whether we wanted to go that big. My sister's
64 in one shed?
So you can only put 16,000 in a house, like in a. It has to be. They have to be like shut in at that point. Like you have to have like a barrier between. So, but you can essentially put 16 and a 16 and a 16 and a 16 in a big packing station in the middle. Because the packing the station, all the equipment in here is quite expensive. So if you can have, it's just like a parlour. You want it running more. If you put a rotary in, anyone who puts a rotary in, the next goal is to keep it going because it's efficient, and the packing equipment is very efficient. We'll do 10,000 plus eggs an hour. So you're done in 3 hours. That's you. You do 4 eggs, it's a horrible job, but you have to crack on. You just get on with it. But yeah, it's quite an efficient way of working. So.
And is your dad's farm, has that been in the family for a while?
Yeah, I think my papa went through a phase in the 70s. He bought most of the land we've got there now. I think my dad's bought bits and bobs, but nothing major. I think he's maybe bought 10% of what we've got now. My papa, he started off a home farm where my uncle is now, and he just bought every time a farm come up for sale. I think in milk farming in the 70s and 80s, the way my dad goes on, it's a bit like farming eggs now. They were just printing money basically, and it was really easy. And a farm come up for sale, you just buy the land and buy that land. The next thing, I think they had up to nearly 900 acres at the time. So the farm that we're in now, Dad got it. There wasn't really anything on it, and he just, like, mum and dad, they moved in there, they got married, and my mum and dad were quite happy there. So I think originally my dad's oldest son, they would have went back to the home farm, and that's it. But they were happy. My Nan and Papa were still happy down the road, so they just stayed there, and that's how it worked. And then I think my Papa said, right, he wanted everything split up, because some farms they still run as one, like the milk from that farm and that farm, and it's all one big business. A lot of farms still do that. My Papa was like, nah, you're on your own and you're on your own. Like my uncle would be, so we still do silage and stuff together just to split the cost for equipment. Apart from that, we're kind of separate businesses, which is good because it means you're not making decisions, and money becomes a big thing if you start.
It helps avoid a big fallout as well.
Why are they doing up the house and we are wanting to get, like, he wants to buy a new tractor and they're wanting to do up the house, you know what I mean? You've got your own money to make your own decisions.
So I think quite often it's the wives that fall out too in that situation, because they're in his ear going, why is your brother getting that? Like, why are they getting to do that? And no, I'm not saying that, but I just know I know of several examples where that is the case.
It happens. You have to watch the other half. So I've had that advice from, like, legal folk when the whole Succession, when we were doing Succession, that was a big thing, where they were saying, it's always the other half that are in somebody's ear, and stuff. I think we're quite good. Like, my 4 sisters and stuff. They're all quite happy with everything and how it says, as long as I don't.
Has it all been sorted out already?
Not the farm side. I think I'm not really sure what the plan is for the rest of the farm. I think I've separated the farmhouse and the garden, so I've been given that just because my wife, we wanted to spend a lot of money on it, and it was just like, right, well, my wife wanted it in our name or something, like, so that.
What do we say about other halves?
So it was just a wee,
like, I'm not doing up your dad's house. I tell you, I'm not doing up your dad's house.
It was just a wee thing, but it made a lot of sense. It's just a bit like
So I'm always joking, Chelsea, by the way. I'm always joking, Chelsea.
So you guys, so where are your mum and dad?
So they've actually, we've got the farmhouse. My mum had a B&B business growing up, so we've got she had a B&B business. My oldest sister's got a livery business in the farm. She's got 30-40 horses. Obviously, my dad did the dairy, and then we get the opportunity to start the hen. So we were quite diverse at one point. But a couple of years ago, my mum decided, I'm fed up cleaning toilets. I'm fed up with people. And I said, in that degree, like, just like folk would turn up late, or they would get drunk, and wine would get spilled, sick would happen, whatever. So she was like, right, I'm just going to stop it. So we've still got a log cabin and stuff on the farm, but it's just kind of lying empty at the minute. But the rest of the steading was all done up. It's just like having imagine the buyers were all bedrooms and stuff, kitchens. I think there's like 4 kitchens in the place, you know. So they just didn't move out. They moved along, and we just locked the door in the middle. So that's their zone. That's our zone.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see. We're doing up the house now. We'll move in hopefully this year, and we'll see if it works. If it's not working out, then we're quite open. But I think it'll be fine.
Probably be alright as well though, because like it stops the fights getting too aggressive.
Aye.
Do you know what I
Do
mean?
you mean the mum and dad been next door?
Aye, like
I
you know,
get on with my dad really well.
But no. I mean, like between you and Chelsea. You know, you can't
because
shout.
they're here,
I
they
can-
can-
Yeah.
Aye, you know,
Keep it down, you know.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
"Shh,
It's
mum
your
and
mum and
dad,
dad,
don't
mum.
throw that. Don't put it down. I just imagine like it's like when there's guests next door, it's great. Lizzie and I tone it right down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's hard to get the full venom out when you're like, come through here, come through this back room. I'm like, no, I'm not coming through there.
It's usually if I'm hogging the washing machine or something small. It's the little things that really tick.
Hogging the wash, like doing the
Aye,
wash.
if I've got it washing in, I'm bad for like doing a washing and I forget to take it out and hang up. And obviously, so you have to wash it again because it stinks.
Mate,
And
it's actually do a washing.
I've been waiting in that washing machine you've had that stuff in for a day now, and then I was.
Mate, fair play to you. I'm terrible like that. Like, I can admit.
I don't
that,
mind.
like,
I like cooking.
Lizzie
I like
does do
doing a
my
bit of
washing.
cooking and stuff
Do
like that.
you?
You know, aye.
I like cooking.
I don't mind doing a bit of cooking.
Some man.
Did that Hello Fresh.
Oh, we
Kinda
had,
got us into it.
we had Gusto for a while, which is I think the same idea.
Same. It tells you how to cook it.
Well, we got it last lambing or 2 lambings ago when obviously we're flat out, so it's like just dead easy. Every day is the meal's done.
Yeah,
And it's one
you
done.
don't have to think.
Hello Fresh is like it basically sends you it's raw ingredients. It's not like processed food. It's like raw
No.
ingredients and then a list of how to make
Yeah.
bolognese or whatever it is, and it was great for lambing.
So straightforward, and you can like specify if you want them quick.
Yeah,
like fast
and
meals
and the
and
kind of
stuff
stuff you're
as
into.
well.
Yeah.
Aye, no, it was good. It's more just like the sauces. I know how to cook mince and stuff, but I never know what to put in it. So it's like Worcester sauce. Never heard of it, but chuck it in. That's good.
Oh, aye.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tasty.
the next thing I'm at the shop now, I don't actually do it anymore now. I'm just like when I'm at Morrison's or whatever. Try to do a lot of food shop with Chelsea's because it's like it's like a bit of time we get together. We're doing going in with a big trolley. And then I was like, oh, there's Worcester sauce, chuck that in. And then you
It's
forget.
not Worcester sauce.
Sorry, I'm maybe not pronouncing it right.
I mean, I'm
bad for that.
quite cultured, though, have you know? I've been around.
So we find out he's 20% Indian or
I've
something.
never been to Worcester, but I think it's Worcester. But anyway, let's continue.
Worcester sauce.
You must have had the crisps.
Tastes good.
Worcester
You get
sauce.
Worcester. You do get Worcester
you do.
flavour
I
crisps.
don't
Yep.
really branch out from like your what's the red Doritos? I quite like them.
Chili heatwave.
Chili
Chili
heat wave.
wave, prawn cocktail, Pringles.
I
They're
like
my
prawn
kinda-
cocktail.
Prawn
I don't-
cocktail Pringles, though.
I've
don't
never had
really-
a prawn cocktail Pringle.
I don't really branch out from
I'd
that.
say you're
really,
branching out quite a bit already. I mean, that's quite exotic.
Yeah.
Chili heatwave Doritos and okay.
Yeah.
Prawn cocktail Pringles.
then-
I would go cheese and onion Pringles. Or
If
cheese and whatever
Sour
they're called.
cream and chive I would do.
Maybe
If
that's what
you've
they're
got
called.
friends
Yeah, they're
coming
really
over, you'll get the Tesco and brand stuff. And put it in a bowl.
And then leave the real bag
Yeah.
there next to it. Aye, keep that empty tube, we'll put it next to the bowl. Do you know what the most popular favourite, I like a tangent, the most popular flavour of crisps in the UK is?
Ready salted.
No, it's not actually.
Is it like a sort of run of the mill like that?
Obviously, it's the most popular.
Yep.
It's not that, it's not a trick
Salt
question.
and vinegar.
No.
and
Cheese and onion. Aye. I always love cheese and onion in a piece.
Yeah.
A piece is a Scottish word for a sandwich. Like you have a sandwich, you'd have like cheese, cheese and ham.
You're getting global listeners.
Yeah,
here,
of-
we need to-
and a lot, and yeah, even in England, a lot of things we say here are different. But yeah, you get a piece and cheese and ham, and some cheese and onion crisps in
Yeah.
it.
So nice.
Texture.
I've never had one of them.
flavour.
I've seen folk do it, but put crisps in their
In a
sandwich.
Oh,
piece.
you never
Aye,
done
it's good.
that?
I've never done it, nah. I've just always thought.
It's
So
good.
working class,
It's
mate.
the
Don't
crunch.
don't lower yourself. It's the texture, isn't it? It's
It
good.
is the texture, it's the crunch.
Um,
and was it so for you growing up? Did you always want to get into
Aye,
the
my
farm?
mum was a wee bit like, because she obviously seen the hours that my dad would do. And I've had these things with Chelsea. Like I say, we go shopping to spend time together. It is a lot of hours. Like nobody, we put in TikTok about buying a farm. You don't put in TikTok the 4 eggs and the 70, I think it's like it was 70 million eggs roughly to pay off the first shed. You know, so nobody see, you didn't video all the work for the last 8 years, so you just see this bit. And it's the same, so yeah, I always wanted to be a farmer. I love it. I mean, it's times like this when you've got a good spring. I don't think there's a better job.
Yeah.
Especially, Cammy mentions here, so a lot like how we're kind of under the radar. Like,
Yeah.
What an area we're in.
Oh, I know.
Like I just think,
Get your
I
voice
think-
in. Get your
aye.
voice in. They'll come here, mate.
That's why I bought the farm now.
I know, I
It's
know.
like, it can only be so long
I know.
before folk say, hey, it's not bad up there.
I know. Aye, what about this Ayrshire place Cammy's always talking about? Well, we have Ayrshire, where the hell is that?
I mean, Northern Ireland, it's 20 grand. They could.
I know.
I mean, I've been to Northern Ireland. I'd say here's better.
But that's why I
No
joke
offence.
when you come up the A77 from Cairnryan from the ferry. Like there's so many Northern Irish farmers now because all they do is they come over, they drive up, first farm they see us. How much is that an acre?
Aye.
And it's like, oh, 8 grand
a
an
bargain.
acre. 8 grand an acre. We'll take it.
If they keep driving up,
And they just keep chapping. They just keep chapping the doors as they come up.
Yeah.
No, that's just a joke, guys. That's just a joke. You know, we love our non-Irish friends. But yeah, thankfully they haven't got this far up.
Aye.
I say
so-
that we've got shout out to Scott Brown. He's next door.
Is he Irish?
Well, he'd be Scottish, but his dad was
Oh, is he? All right,
from
I
Northern
know
Ireland.
I know
Yeah.
Scott. I didn't know he was. Aye.
Yeah, well, he's Scottish to be fair,
Aye.
but his dad's from Northern Ireland originally. Yeah.
Aye. But yeah, no, I always wanted to be a farmer. I didn't always want, like, it's not, when I left school, it was always dairy. That's what we did. So
Right.
my idea, left school in 2013, all right, we'll go from 100 cows to 200 and 3. That's what I wanted to do. I love milking. I loved all things farming, but cows is what we knew. That's what we did. So that was my plan. 2013 milk price was, it just started to crash. We were getting, I think in 2014 we were getting like 13p a litre. In that kind of 13, 14 phase. Our cost was at 22, and that was, we had kept it right down. So Dad was losing a lot of money. He said, like, you're better just going and doing something else. You're just left school, you're young, go and find something else to do now. And if it, like, get a trade or whatever. So I looked at different bits, and a few college pals they said they went to Australia the year before, and it was great. So went out there, did a harvest, went to New Zealand, seen how to dairy farm properly. They were unreal out there. How switched, they were just really good with their grass management. And then it was then at the time Sir John had been on the phone. Do you want to get into hens? There's a good bit in your farm.
How did he know you to say that?
So we're kind of related to John and Kat. Like my grand sister with Kathy, who's John's wife.
Yeah.
Lady Kathy. So we were related. So they were just out, probably just visiting, seeing us one day, and we're saying about the dad and
okay.
and then they went around the farm and say, "There's a good." John's like, "I'd build a hen shed there. That's a good wee spot there." And then so we thought about it, and I said, "Yeah." And then I think Ian came out. He's now running Glenrath Farms. He came out and he's didn't. I don't know if John told him, but he looked at the same spot and said, "I'd build it in there." So I know.
That's where it's going.
We'll get the planning in. So we went for planning, didn't get any complaints. It was just like they couldn't believe it because they get so many over there. We just sailed through planning and then
Yeah, sure, mate.
Aye.
The folk are really reasonable.
Even the second shed we've scaled through and didn't get
That's
anything.
brilliant.
What does it do with planning? It goes to like it gets in the paper and all that. And
You have to advertise it. I think their planning fees, it's so much per square foot of area or something, but you have to advertise it. With the second shed, we have to go through like a permit process as well, because once you over 40,000 birds on a holding,
for
yeah.
SEPA type thing.
for SEPA, yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot more. There's a lot more with the second shed that we're doing than there was with the first. The first one, it was just apply for planning, build it, get it up and running. That was basically it. But yeah, Glenrath were really good in that sense. Like they were like, let's get on, and that's why I came home. Time I came home, we started digging. That was planning just to have it approved from Australia, and I jumped off the plane into a digger, and we started digging out. And that was really
Yeah.
it. And built the hen shed, and that was my job. And that time, dairy had started to pick back up again, so we started getting a few staff in to help us with hens. I started getting more into dairy. That's where I started looking at breeding AI, and now I'm like, right, let's keep growing the dairy. And so I wanted to grow both, but right now the eggs are doing better. They'll get a better return on investment. ROI.
Oh, eggs are the game now in farming.
They are,
I don't
aye.
think there's
They're the
anything.
biggest. When I spoke to Oxway, they're the biggest growth sector.
Eggs are one of the greatest food sources.
Aye.
Arguably the greatest food
Healthy
source.
fat, protein.
Great for your brain, everything for
Yeah.
but they're so quick to produce. You know, you can throw a shed up, get eggs out, and get moving pretty quickly. If you went up and down your dairy, it's a long. Beef is a 2-year process.
Dairy's technically the same. You
Eggs
have to
is-
breed that calf to then be a hen for.
Yeah, but we saw it with the eggs before when all the farmers are like, well, we're losing money.
I just leave the shed empty.
Whereas dairy farmers will keep going losing money because they can't turn the tap off.
You can't.
Whereas with the
that's
hen-
a big thing for the egg market that we can do that.
You can just stop tomorrow.
Because there's no point wearing out the equipment.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you will be like the hen manure and stuff. It's really strong. You're just going to rust your shed quicker. And if you're losing money, you're better just leaving it empty.
Yeah.
And then if the prices start to include, I think you're 4 months from when you order your pullets till they're ready to point to lay. You're 5 months and you're back into production. Whereas with dairy, like you get ready, you have to get a contract and stuff, but you also have to either you go to the market and you pay the big premium to buy the cows in, or if you started to breed, or like beef is time you put the cow in calf, it's born. You're 3 years. So 5 months, 3 years, you've got a very easy to turn that.
The dairy thing is you have to keep milking the cows for our health as well. If you start selling them off when milk's bad, there's no money in them because milk's bad. Nobody's buying them. There's just so many ways you can dry off a few more and reduce it slightly. Reduce the feed is a big one. There is ways, but the egg thing is such a power.
It's good. That's why we're kind of looking to grow. Don't get me wrong, we're looking at other options, like we said about the carbon credits and stuff. But my wife's Chelsea, we got married last year and we did like a TP wedding type setup, and it was really nice. And she's like, I would quite like to do something like that. She hated doing it because it was her own wedding. But she thought, if it wasn't my wedding, I would have loved that, because it is what she is. She's right now when we're kind of renovating the farmhouse, she's loving it. She's like picking this and that. And
what is it Chelsea does?
She actually works for a tech company called Force. She works in sales. They give her. She's well compensated for when they do a deal and stuff. She does really well, but she doesn't love it.
Okay.
She doesn't. It's not. I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it forever. She doesn't like the flying about. Like, she was in London there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then back up the road, and it sounds like a dream. Like, because she's going to Vegas.
Sounds like a nightmare for me.
But it's not. It's. I think the first few months, it's getting to go.
Totally.
And then it's like you're going to London again next week, or you're going to Birmingham for the day. Like, fly down in the morning. It's a long day to go up at airport, waiting flight, and then it's like the flight up to London delayed for 2 hours.
Yeah, and enough what wears off though, that staying away from home so quick.
It's just like, so I don't know, obviously we're wanting to get into the farmhouse, and I've got my plans. She's just right now she's trying to get into TikTok. She's like,
That's
this
so
could
good
be
though.
this could be
What are you called?
What's your TikTok? Give it a shout out.
I don't know.
Have you got your phone there?
It's Murdoch. I left it in the car.
Murdoch. It comes up
Murdoch farming or something.
Aye.
We'll put it up.
Put it on the screen. MD. It's in. It
Murdoch
comes up in
Farm.
my feed all the time.
I think it's that. I think it is that. I think it's Murdoch farming.
Because you're just needing a bit more personality about you when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you've got it.
Well,
but you're just been too like.
I'm just doing it as like she's like wanting to drive.
But you're doing it like there's a gun behind the camera.
Oh, that's what I feel
That's
like.
what I would be like.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah, but that's what you seem like when I'm watching it. I'm like, Chelsea's onto something, because you've got an interest in business.
Definitely.
And you're speaking open, and honestly, that is all you need to do well on social media. There's so many folk that they don't want to show you the full story. They want to show you the fancy bits and all that. But if you actually get into nitty gritty of numbers, like Andrew Wright,
he does well.
People
for
love
numbers.
it.
He gets in, but there's loads. There's like Connor Casey and Red House Holsteins.
He's good. I really like him,
Vicky over there and Vicky B that's in Northern Ireland as well. There's good Northern Irish dairy farmers. I'm not into dairy, but I watch them all because I like them talking about numbers.
Yeah.
About why they do certain things. I like that Andrew's all about grazing the cows. Connor thinks it's absolutely madness. And the two of them argue their case.
Aye.
Like, I would actually love to do like I know Andrew's done a social
debates.
media night. Do a debate. Have 3 dairy farmers one side that are you have to keep the cows in, and another 3 the other side is you have to graze them.
It doesn't really. It just depends what you want to do, because they all make money in their own respect. Like, keeping them in, and that makes your farm more efficient. You could put on more cows, because grazing, essentially, once they graze these fields, once you get to like the third rotation, they've shat all over the place. Half the grass they don't eat because they still smell their poo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to put that in.
Well, no, but also it's wet. Like Ayrshire.
Yeah, it's wet as well. Like, the weather,
like
it's so
200 dairy cows coming through a gateway.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
twice a day.
Yeah.
We came back from New
It's a
Zealand.
disaster.
That was the first thing. Obviously, we put the hen shed up. Once we got it running, started putting cow tracks in. So most splitting up fields, electric fences, so that they're in. I think it's like 36 hours we try and aim for, and then they're into the next paddock. And we tried to put where we could put 2 access. There's a gate in, and then they come out that gate, because when it does turn wet,
if it's one access, it's a nightmare. Your cows still out in the summer.
Yeah, so we still graze.
Yeah.
So we're right into grazing, but I would be open.
If you put it to 300, you probably couldn't.
Nah, well, Doogie next door, he's got 300 sorbet next farm up. They're 500. They're grazing in February.
Yeah.
He's got smaller type of cows. He's got kind of
Jersey Friesians.
Frisian jerseys, Kiwi cross, I think you call them, or whatever you want. But so it's doable. It's just how you put in cow tracks or infrastructure. It can be done, but I don't know if I would put my cows out in February, March, because the grass qualities. We put our cows out and start April there. They're standing at the gate at 4 o'clock saying, right,
That's enough.
we'll wait some of it, but we want the cake.
Yeah,
we want
yeah.
back in.
Yeah.
Whereas once you get to May, the grass starts to really taste a lot better, and that's them. They're quite happy. You have to then get them in.
Yeah, the protein's higher in it. They're enjoying it
Aye.
more. The young spring grass. Yeah.
Aye.
Oh no, it's a good. When we do a Fed by Farmers debate sometimes about the pros and cons. Oh, there's pros. There is.
Could
It's
that
a
be like the mediator? I think I would like to be the one in the middle.
right. You can.
Okay.
Right, you can go on the fence, and I'll like prod at them and goad them, and be like, oh,
Yeah.
but what about this, and oh, what about that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, surely no. Like just
Really?
start up trouble.
I like that.
You're a factory farmer with them in all the time.
Well, that's hey, you could throw that one into it. But then I make the argument as well that God, like a cow's so bloody happy and a nice, she a nice mattress. There's always
Nice,
food in front of her. Like
A lot of folk, I think there's a few robots.
life's a dream for a cow in a
Tom
shed.
Bemperton, he went to a farm in Holland not long ago. It was like 4 GA robots, and did automatic feeding and everything. And I think they opened the gate so the cows can go out. It's just a bit like us with the hens. You open the bottles, they can. It's not like we chase them all out.
Yeah.
They come and go, and there's maybe 1,000 out at a time.
Yeah.
But they're always jumping back in, eating that one, then goes out, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, that's essentially what the robots think. They might say that right. They need to have access. So all you can do is open the gate. If they don't go out, well, the gate's open.
Well, I did watch an interesting video that showed about the cows, and they said, when you first open the doors, that they go out skipping and jumping and delight it, but they leave the door open before you know it, they're back in.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
Just sitting in the shed.
They're all standing at the gate at 4
Aye.
o'clock saying, right, can we get back in now? So-
Yeah.
See what I was just thinking, like, see physiologically for dairy cows, so obviously they have to have a calf to start producing milk.
Yeah.
So when you're milking them, that's just tricking their body into thinking that it's a calf sucking.
Yeah, pretty
that's how
much,
it works,
yeah. I think
Yeah, that's how they keep producing milk. Because
Yeah.
if the milk doesn't get milked,
it'll dry you up in a sense. Like, I think the more you milk the cow, the more milk you get. So that robots can milk them 3+ times a day.
Because that's
You
more
get an extra
like it would be if it was
15%
a
milk.
calf, they would be constantly
well, just
sucking.
the body is amazing. That the female body, like if it's getting drained, I mean, they're not
meet
totally
demand.
draining it. It'll meet demand.
yeah,
Aye.
yeah.
And as long as you put the protein and the food source in front of it to meet that demand, the energy source to meet
Yeah.
that demand,
You talk about
the cow will meet, and the genetics, obviously.
Aye.
Female body is incredible.
Oh,
It's
insane.
incredible when you think about
Well, Lizzie
that.
was telling me a thing that, and don't quote, I'm sure if Lizzie's saying it, it's right, but like when she's breastfeeding, right? This is mad. This could be made up because it's hard to believe, right?
right?
It's something like that her body can tell from the saliva of the baby if it's not well or something, and
Of what it needs if it's deficient in something.
or something like that. If it's got a cold or something, I don't know
Yeah.
what it is, right? And it adjusts the milk.
all right.
Her body will adjust the breast milk.
Yeah. No, that's bang on.
Is that right?
Yeah,
To
that's
suit the
true.
baby. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Really?
insane. Aye. Oh, I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it when she's telling me how incredible that is. Like,
It's mad.
What, like in a
the body
a
must
day?
take. Oh, it must be fairly quick. Aye, it must be like it must tell from the saliva that something needs to change, and then it changes. I don't know.
That's mad, that.
I know.
I just thought milk was milk.
That is
It's crazy.
from a cow. It is, to be fair, because it's just coming out the suckers. But
Oh, but you wonder if a cow could, if it's the same, because animals.
I
will
would
be
assume so.
The same, you know.
it's a good question. Does a sheep adapt?
Because that's where like lambs get immunity is from the colostrum, isn't it? From
From the
certain diseases.
yeah, I get colostrum's different, but when's the colostrum? I thought you were meaning like maybe in 2
Yeah,
months.
I'm meaning
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I mean no, colostrum's different.
How long
Colostrum.
does the colostrum last?
Oh, a couple of days.
And then it's just on
Yeah.
to...
Yeah, just a couple of days.
You always check
If that,
to get
I
it
don't
into them fast.
Aye, your first 24 hours.
Aye. Oh,
Yeah.
they say 2 hours. They say with us, if a calf's born, get it in within 2 hours.
Oh, aye, lambs
Yeah.
are the same. But I mean, like, your first 24 hours will be
That's
getting
the
good,
biggest one, aye.
good go colostrum, like, and then after that, it's
It
just
just
on
kind of phases out. aye.
Yeah.
But yeah, lambs essentially and calves, I imagine the same. They're born without any immunity. But then that's where, like, if you vaccinate the ewes, the immunity will cover the lambs for 2 weeks as long as they get the colostrum.
Yeah. So it's so
Is that all it
important.
is? Just 2
Just
weeks?
2 weeks.
So you just vaccinate them prior to
Aye,
as they're coming?
4 to 6 weeks prior to lambing.
Okay.
I don't do mine, but yeah, that's what
Always
you should
like
do.
this about lambing, right? When I talk to my sheep farming friends
Yes.
about lambing.
You've got some poor friends as well.
Well, we'd ask them because if we're saying, "Oh, we've got a cow calf," and they say, "It's due end of January or something," right? I don't know much more than it's end of January. But when they say, "Oh, when do you start lambing?" They're like, "Oh, 7th of March."
Uh-huh.
So the 6th of March, there's nothing. Like you'll be at the pub or what. But the
Aye.
7th of March, that's me.
Well,
Like,
true.
You don't get an early one. You don't get
you do,
a
you
10th
do,
Yeah.
you do. They'll 100% land before that, but they're just working off the fact of like
The day, right.
When
It's
it-
just funny that, like, 7th of March at 10 in the morning. That's
Yeah.
Aye, it's so
Clocking
specific.
in.
But then I suppose if you AI cows, but then cows are the same.
I
They
would get
go-
you get like in a 280 days. So if you could, but then like if you with a Belgian blue, it's all a bit longer. So we just
if it's a
kinda
bull
go-
calf, it can go over too.
Aye,
can't
that's
it,
right.
and all
So
that.
there's a bit of you just say end of the month ish. You just kind of it's roughly due. So when we dry it off,
What is the reason for there being so much AI in dairy?
efficiency? Just so much advancement in genetics. So much. That's
Okay.
why we had to because we right now our cows I think we're producing an average of 22-3 litres a day,
Okay.
which is rookie numbers. Like the top dogs are getting up for 40.
Right.
You know, like
okay.
you really need to be pushing above 30 now to survive in this industry, really. So when we're at 23, we're like we're right in the, and we're a smaller side, and we're not pushing the big litres. So the genetic advancement of AI and is a lot quicker than us. Like we would just buy the bull. He's got to get bulled down the road. Just, aye, it looks good. Chuck it in with it, and that was it. And then half the other thing is half those cows because of sex semen now. You can then say, right, I want to breed my top X amount of cows, so I get the replacements. But the bottom ones, instead of having like the bull wouldn't pick and choose, you'll get a heifer calf off your worst cow, and then that's what you're milking in 2-3 years time. Whereas when you're AI, you're picking your best ones to be the next generation of best ones.
But sex semen's a big game changer,
Aye.
because
Is that where you can tell if it's going to be a
yeah,
I think
female?
they can get it up to like 95% now.
and it's absolutely like the dairy industry that's propping up the whole beef job because of sex semen.
Talk me through sex semen.
So you pick like
So they'll milk
Thomas
the
said.
bull, or they'll get the
milk
stuff.
the bull.
I don't know how PG they get the semen, and then I think they sex it. I don't actually know
Rebecca Lewis. Remember, is it Rebecca Lewis did the pig? Remember that last year it was meant to have an affair with David Beckham or
What
some
are you doing
nonsense.
with your hand?
Sorry, that's how you do a pig, by the way.
That's how you do a pig.
That's how you,
That's a,
Right,
I know,
come on.
trust me. It's a tall pig. Rebecca Lewis, she was on a thing called The Farm on Channel 5, and it went absolutely viral. And part of it, they had to get sperm from a pig,
All right.
and her whole thing was like she was making comments about it, and she was like, and this is at the time when she was famous because of the David Beckham story and all that. But a lot of people listening will remember
Right,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't.
Keep down there.
So anyway, yes.
Right.
Showing your age.
So they look.
Wait, you must be older than me.
28.
28.
Right.
I thought you said. Oh God, that's
Let's
it.
go to 2013.
I mean, you're saying 2013. I'm thinking, I didn't leave school till later than that. But I was 2003. I was at school. I'm like, God. Oh, I'm so old, man.
When did you leave school?
2018.
28.
2008. That's what I'm saying. I thought, in my head, it's 2018. I know.
Good hard
It's
paper,
like-
right?
I know.
It's
Oh, cheers, mate. By 2008, joined the police 2009. There you go. But so go back to the
So-
milking a bull
So you've got the semen
blindfolded.
and how.
I
they're-
don't know how they sex it.
But are they looking at the individual sperm?
Aye.
I think they've
Each
got like
individual- that's
there's something that draws it out because you've got an X and a Y
Oh,
chromosome.
I've
So
read
that
about
they've got
that.
something that draws the stuff out, and then you've got the sexed. But they're doing it. It used to be that it wasn't that good because they had to work it so much after before they froze it. A lot of them would die.
Okay.
So your conventional semen was still better. Like in terms of if you couldn't get a cow and calf to sex right, get a conventional straw in it, it'll get it in calf. Whereas now the sexed is just as good results we get from sex and conventional. And they've now started doing sexed on. So the beef, normally conventional, just means you get 50-50, girls and boys. Now they want, the boys are worth more. So a lot of dairy farms are now sexed in beef boys as well. So you've got the girls are all, but all your beef calves are with boys.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
get more
Yeah.
higher
And it's the
value.
dairy because now to get that was a Chinook, by the way, flying over the top is there.
Would that pick that up, aye?
I would say so. It was that bloody loud, aye. But interesting, that's what folk are saying about the dairy's propping up the beef because now rather than before, to get enough heifers, you need to bull 50 or more percent of your cattle to then get a chance at some heifers to carry through. You just do your best cows
Aye.
with sex semen, and the rest are male bull semen. Like Angus is pretty popular.
Aye.
Yeah.
Male Angus semen, get bullocks, and they're your beef thing, and the whole job's better. And it means more potential profit for the dairy because, like a Frisian bull calf
That isn't worth it.
Isn't it worth keeping?
So even
Yeah.
a Holstein bull, like, it's not. That's where it comes down to that efficiency. Like if you're getting a Holstein bull, and you do get the 1 or 2 now, but before you were getting maybe 20, 30, 40 a year.
Yeah.
So now you're only getting 1 or 2, and they're worth.
And beef prices weren't worth what they are now.
Nah,
So there's
even
not
now though,
viable to
like-
feed
No.
them.
Even
Yeah.
now, the difference would still be there anyway.
Yeah.
Like it'd still be a lot less. So you're talking maybe £300 a head, and it's only a fiver for the straw,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the beef straw. So
Yeah.
you pay off. It pays off quite quick. We've got a grant for the collars, so we put collars on the cows. There's an app on my phone that tells me that one's in heat, so you don't have to watch it, and then you just say, right, it's good time. I'll go eye it. But now I'm eyeing at 9 o'clock at night. and
So
stuff.
it's down to that specific. It'll tell.
Yeah, I
you.
think between 12 and 18 hours. That's what I kind of. That's when you kind
Wow.
of want to in that kind of time frame.
And what's the name of the collars? I've seen things like this. It takes the heat of the cow, the temperature of the cow.
I mean, it does rumination. Ours doesn't do temperature. The more advanced ones and stuff. I think now you can just do a wee tag in the unit, does it? But
How does it tell when?
I don't actually know. I don't.
I bet it must go by the movement of the throat, how much
It's
she's
something to
eating
do
and all
with
that.
Aye.
And if she's jumping, if she's like bulling,
It monitors her activity.
she'll be milling about and
It'll-
jumping
Yeah.
It'll
and
tell you how much she's resting, how much she's eating. We don't really look at that too much. It's more just we put it in for heat detection, so that I'm not having to watch.
So what's
them.
it getting her movement in the shit? Her
Movement in the shed, or even if they're
If
out
she's
in-
jumping.
if they're out in the
Is
field.
that a sign of bulling into it? Is that
Yeah,
jumping?
so the
Aye.
one in the bottom that stands, that's the one that's in heat, not the one that's actually doing
Ah,
the
right,
jumping.
right, okay.
If the one in the bottom, my dad would always say, if it runs away, that means it wouldn't stand for the bull.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
not, it's not that one. But like the day when the way here, I seen the cows are out in the field. I seen one jumping one. I don't know who it is. I need to go and look at something. But when they come in at night, within an hour it'll update. It'll give me the number, and then I'll say, "Oh, that's it now at 13 hours." I'll just catch it and yeah.
Oh, so the collars catch the Wi-Fi in the shed and then
Yeah,
then
they
ping
don't
you.
catch it out in the field
Yeah.
during the day. If they will in the close by fields, but the far away fields, once they come back, it'll update
Right,
within
right.
an hour, and then or an hour or so, and then by the end of milking, you can say, all right, there's these 2 to go do. I'll go just fetch them out and get them done. That's you.
Class.
Or if they're in the shed during the night or in winter time, it'll
What's
just
the name of the collars?
they're Dairy Master, but you get all sorts of different brands. They're quite good. I like them. They
Aye,
work
aye.
really well. I wouldn't do without them now.
They were talking about something like that. They're trying trials and things like that for sheep or whatever, but the cost is the big issue and how many you need per sheep.
Yeah.
But even things like if they're not getting up very often, it's a sign of lameness or catches lameness early.
Aye.
They're not moving about as much and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's interesting. Or if they're nodding their head, they're obviously lame.
You can
Oh,
get
yeah.
right into it with
Yeah.
like rumination stuff. It will come up like a wee behaviour alert and say, this cow's sick. And you look at her, it's not wrong with it. And sure enough, yeah, a day or two later, she's in last and she's not eating.
Really?
You're right, something's wrong.
Because the first thing that goes is the appetite.
Aye, so we
Yeah.
we do pick up on that. It doesn't happen often that really. You get maybe one every month, touch wood, that'll come up sick. And sometimes it's just a wee blip and then you don't even do anything. It's maybe
Yeah.
just,
Aye, it just
been
happens.
unwell for a day, just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you get a cold or whatever.
Yeah.
And what about, I don't know if you haven't mentioned what you actually get for milk now, have you?
We're getting 40p, but Graham's are switching. They've just got new contracts out, so we're switching to an AB pricing.
Okay.
So we're going to get so much for 90% of the milk, and then the B price will be the spot market, which I think right now is like 35. It's not great. There's just too much milk, especially this time of year, springtime. But they're essentially wanting to change to that because it passes a risk from them on to us. They're basically taking all the risk. They're saying we'll buy all your milk for this price. And if they can't sell it, then they have to sell it at the spot market. And U3 just get took over. That's a good thing. I'm not with U3. I feel
Yeah.
bad. I'd feel really bad if
There's
the U3
farmers
buys it there.
very near to here that are on the U-Tree thing.
It's
and
hard. It's a tough game.
They are struggling. Yeah. Because
My uncle's got one. He's a U3 contract, and it's they were dumping their milk. I think they've dumped it 3 times now.
is that right?
Uh,
But the important thing, I know there was a big thing made about this last week about dumping the milk, and I spoke to Andrew Wright about it, and we're going to do a podcast talking about it actually about just after this one, I think, or maybe actually it'll be out before this. But they were paid for their milk.
oh well, they
You know,
all right.
aye, there was a
aye.
lot of like scaremong, a lot of negative.
What is the
Oh,
UG?
right,
I don't
okay.
know off the top.
It's just like Muller or Graham's. It's just or Arla. It's
Oh,
a
right.
dairy processing company, you know.
And they've gone.
Well, U3 get bought.
No,
off
they've not
us.
gone bust. They've been bought by Muller.
So they've kind of got middle of.
They were the
now kinda
bottom.
got a
They were the kind of
monopoly.
guys that if you couldn't get a contract, you went kind of.
Went with them. They would take you
Okay.
on. But they basically just they buy your milk and they'll sell it in the spot market, and you don't know how much you're getting. They'll tell
Okay.
you once they sell it. They'll sell all your month's milk. then they'll tell you next month, right, yes, how much you got last month.
Right, okay.
Which is hard to really predict what you're
When
doing.
you
Like,
fix
Yeah, of
costs.
course.
Aye.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's an
Aye.
absolute nightmare. So some farmers in in a real bad spot with it. But then there's other farmers making good money just now, just the way it is. But I mean, I did hear, is Graham's all right? Is it Graham's a business all right? There's a few wee
What
rumours.
have you
I
heard?
hope so.
I heard some wee rumours going about, but I'll not say anymore.
I think they were losing a bit of money.
And that's why they're swapping this milk
That's
price.
why they're revamping everything.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
we're
That's
going to
fair.
take a bit of hit and stuff. But at the end of the day, if we don't want to take the hit, we can they can tell us to go sell the milk.
Yeah,
I don't want to go and like sell it. If I had to go sell that milk tomorrow, it's a bit like eggs, like Tesco and that. They just buy them all. It's quite a nice
it's easy.
working
Yeah.
system.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can bring the odd double yolkers to the neighbours and stuff, and everyone keeps everyone sweet. But aye, it's good when they just come and clear
Yeah.
out. I don't have to, even if you hear Glenrath say that there's sometimes in the summer months, I think there's 20 million Britons going on holiday,
right.
during the kind of July August period. So the
Nice
egg
for them.
sales really drop.
Okay.
Right, and
Oh,
that's when you've
interesting.
got a big kind of, right, what do we do all these eggs? Because you've got a kind of month shelf life. So once they get over, I think what they do is they break them, they pasteurise them, and they store them in IBCs, and then they're ready. They can ship them to other countries or
I sell them
eggs
as
and
whole.
stuff.
You can
But
sell them as
you've
yolks
still got
or
a
as
market
whites.
there. You've still got a market there, but they have all this. They've got all the processing facilities to do that. Whereas if they told us, like, if they turn around tomorrow and says, "We don't want your eggs anymore, you just sell them," I'd be like, "Shit."
Right.
Yeah, where do you start?
Like, they just keep coming.
How far ahead do you have the contract? Like how
You
secure are
can-
you?
I think you can change per flock now that we're paid off. I think we had to pay off the shed. That was kind of part of the deal. And to be honest, I'm really happy with Glenrath. Like, I'm not.
Oh, of course they are. It's been, it's
They've
great.
been really good to
Yeah,
me. And
yeah.
even if they weren't, like,
And Alan Blackwood speaks highly of them as well. Yeah.
if they're not paying the top dollar, I still. It's not like.
High loyalty.
I wouldn't. A bit of loyalty. I wouldn't be here, but I wouldn't have been able to buy that farm. They're the ones that came to me and said, "Do you want this opportunity?" And it was my decision to take it. I mean, I think they were giving out 8 opportunities at a time. So there was myself and there was another farmer, Matt Steele, up in Forfar. He took it on. So we were only two that actually built a hen shed at a time. He's just built another 64.
Nice.
He's just finished it, I think, last week. So it's ready to stock. He's quite a go-ahead guy, to be fair. But without them, I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't be putting a video up saying I just bought a farm. Because we looked at the dairy business and said, can we buy this farm with it? No.
Aye.
And we've been milking cows. Dad's been milking there since 1988. So we've been farming all that time. It's all paid off. Like, we don't owe anything.
Yeah.
But no, you can't buy it because your cash flow isn't good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can maybe buy 100 acres at the most. That was your limit, but that was. Whereas the hens, we're just lucky. We're just really lucky. But
Aye, but
we're grateful.
Do you know, it's
that-
good that you realise that. Like, you're not coming here Billy Big Boss. Like
I don't want to come across that because like it's Chelsea.
No, you're hiding it really well, honestly. but like, folk, I tell you, what I've realised from this podcast, I really have realised, is folk bloody appreciate honesty.
100%.
Like, see when Alan Blackwood come in, and
Aye.
and he spoke honestly about buying tups at 300,000 and
That was really
money.
interesting because I didn't know how, and he
Great
explained
feed
it.
folk.
Aye, that
and
was
do you know how many
interesting.
folk unfairly maybe didn't like Alan because he was at the top and he was this,
Aye.
and then when they heard him speak and actually seen what he's like, actually
Aye.
like, he's quite a sound guy, him.
I was always wondering how
Hoof
and then
GP,
he explained
the
that
same.
on
That's
it.
what I was
Aye.
gonna say.
I'm a big
Hoof
fan.
GP,
Talking about all
he's
his
talking
cars
about getting
and-
£1 million for his back catalogue. You'd think,
Aye.
hate because he's made it. Good on him.
No,
Aye.
and he's honest.
Thing is, he did in a video one time, Hoof GP, he said like he's trimmed like 250,000 cows. That might be wrong, maybe, or 250,000 feet.
Aye.
But he's probably saved like. I went and did a foot trimming course. I walked away. I was falling asleep watching some of the stuff on it, and I came back.
It's his
I
voice.
still didn't know. So I ended up. I still went to cow's feet. I do all my own cow's feet, and I didn't know how to do this, do that. And I started watching him, and I thought, God, I had a cow like that the other day. That's what you do. 'Cause I didn't know how to do it. So and
He always
I'm
says he
brilliant.
started the videos because farmers are always like, show us how you do that, or would I do this? And he thought, well, I'll just do tutorial videos.
Oh, I admit, our cow, we used to always cull cows because they got lame and we didn't know how to sort them out. And Dad was like, well, we just didn't. We've never got a foot trimmer in. We just kind of, Dad just walked away and he would just show, I just take a wee slice of bacon off that, and that was it. Kind of old school, done it.
Yeah.
Hung up a rope. You would be like, you could be a boxer time you're by, dodging these feet coming at you. We've got a half decent crush now, not the best, but it does the job. But watching Graham and how he done it, I mean, transformed how I did it.
Yeah.
Like, I bought a grinder.
That's so
There you
good.
go.
Never had a grinder before. When I bought the grinder, Dad's like, "You're going to hack a leg off." Hack a leg off for that, and it's just nah. I've got
Start
a
slow
plan.
and steady.
That's
Aye,
Yeah.
nice and easy. So he was. I mean, and if that's just one farmer, like the amount of feet that are probably better off because he started doing YouTube, and I know it obviously does well off it and good, but there's a lot of cows that have done well off it.
Oh, aye,
Yeah.
and
Like
listen,
the hidden thing that you don't see.
Aye, listen, I sing Graham's praises all the time on here because he's been bloody good to me. Like, for starting off, like, he's gave me a lot of help.
Aye.
And, we're good mates. Like, I'll speak to him this morning. Like, I'll speak to him 2-3 times a week about different stuff like
That's why
his
I
class.
kind of envy. Like I've not started from nothing as well. Like, I've had my dad. Like when we bought the farm, he had a bit of security he gave to me. He was
Yep.
even when we started the hen shed. Like I didn't have to go buy land. Like we just built it on my dad's farm.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
like yourself and like the Hoof GP, they started from the bottom. I didn't start. I've had a big leg up, so I just want to say,
But, mate, it's a strength, like,
Yeah.
knowing you've had a leg up.
aye,
Like, some people don't realise
That's
that
very
they've had
true.
a
I
leg
feel
up.
like do they not?
No, there's plenty of folk like that will almost be, I suppose, kind of folk wind in their face all the time. Like, you're appreciative of it,
Aye.
you know,
Well,
and that you've had this.
Chelsea
whereas-
wanted to put the video up on Facebook because we'd bought this when it was a big thing, but I was a bit like, I don't know, like, because folk don't, I don't know if folk like seeing you do well. Also, folk like it when you're like, oh yeah, try that. Like everyone likes you when you're down there.
I've spoke about that before actually, like, and that was my real worry about buying this place because ironically, if the sheep game failed the month before I bought this place, it was fine. If it failed after we bought it and we need to find $5,000 a month mortgage, you're screwed. So I need people to back me
Aye.
now that I'm up.
Aye.
And although I'm up,
Hey, you're in. It's not like
I own 25% of
aye,
a 16-acre
I
farm.
own 10.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye, the
It's
bank own it. It's now my job to pay it off.
but,
aye.
but on the face of it, it looks
I
like,
know,
oh, he's
I
got
know,
the big
I know.
farm now and all
Aye.
that. But I've got 25% of it and it's 16
Aye.
acres.
I was really excited. See,
you
when
know-
Christmas, we were all around, we were trying to work out where it was and stuff. Like, there's a main road there, and where is it? Like, I was right buzzing for you.
Oh, we were three
That's
kids,
another big thing. Like Lizzie would have backed you, like going for this. Like my wife, she was really like behind me. Like, yeah, I think you should go for, like, because it's not just me, but it's us. Like, this is something.
Yeah.
It's going to have an impact on her because I'm already
Absolutely.
busy as it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, this is probably going to make me busier. Obviously, we'll need to try and recruit more staff and when we grow, but I'm going to probably effectively be busier.
Yeah, is there not going to be
Yeah.
a space like in the hen sheds for her? I mean, as a management point of view,
Well,
or do you
she
do all
looked
that?
at like maybe a secretary. Like, I hate paperwork. I can't. I mean, I don't know
Same.
the other day,
Same.
and it's just like, where's this policy and stuff? Like, if a chicken gets stuck underneath the system or something when they're meant to be up or whatever, where's your policy? You know, we just catch it and put it in. Oh, but you need a policy. It needs to be in black and white. And I hate
Yeah.
that bit. I'm like, and it was. I can't find it. I don't know. I've not been asked for this bit of paper for a few years. I've been asked for it before, but I can't remember. Where I put
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's in a folder somewhere, and can we just like, nah, I need it. It's critical. So they gave me like an hour to find it, and I had to go ramble through. And
Go and type it up.
Dad's like, no, just write it in a bit. Let's put it. Just write it.
Alan, can you email me through that?
Hey, guys, he'll have it.
What do you do?
He'll have
What do you do if there's a chicken? Right. Hang on. Speak slow.
That's exactly. That's basically what we ended up writing. Just wrote it down. I just typed it up, printed it, and it was, oh yeah, that's fine. I'm like, what's the point?
I know.
Do you know Robert Chapman at Farmley?
I don't think I've ever met him, but I know of him. I
Right,
know
well,
of him.
he's a fantastic speaker. Like, I'm a big fan. He's spoke at a couple of events I've been at, including NFU AGM last year. And he says one of his big things, he makes a point, and is the amount of inspections they have to go through.
Aye.
There's, now, don't quote me in them all. There's maybe RSPCA,
There's
farm
four.
assurance.
There's four we have to do.
There you go, something like that. Four of these things. He's like, why can't we just have one independent
Well,
body?
that's what the farm is. You just get a farm assurance, you get one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Done and dusted.
Exactly. And the other bodies trust them to do it properly.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
it, one and done.
Aye.
And he says, I'm sure he says, and hopefully I'm not misquoting him here, he has 2 full-time members of staff just to
Doing the paperwork.
keep it
That
right
is
for those
Aye, it's a
inspections.
lot.
Insane.
It's a lot trying to
2
get it going.
just for those inspections.
Well, I'm just doing it myself, and I'm like, God, this is like you lose like it's about a day's worth of prep for it.
Yeah.
Just making sure everything's filled in right.
Yeah.
This is right. Like we got one time, if your temperature in your packing station, it can't be above 20 degrees. And I think somebody wrote down it was like 20.2 or something. That was a critical. We had to go put an aircon unit in. Couldn't sell eggs until we got this all corrected.
You are joking.
And it was just like it was like one day, and it was like 4 months ago. He was looking through my paperwork, and it was like 4 months. The eggs are sold, they're eaten, but That was a.
I just remember a staff made a mistake.
I'm not saying we.
No, I didn't make a mistake. No.
But,
Obviously, no. That shows your integrity. You haven't told them to do that.
No,
They've been honest.
You just right. There's the times you just have to record everything. But one day, it went over. But it was like 20.2. It wasn't like it was 30 degrees. But they just say, oh well, that was a critical. So we had to go through this whole rigmarole, get air conditioning, all this.
And like
installed.
you say, the eggs were sold. So why were they then
Eggs are
stopping
sold
you?
and eaten. This was like October. It was like July that the day was hot. One time that the temperature just got up a bit more, and he would just been looking at the thermometer at that time, and it was like, oh, it was at 20, and he's wrote it down. And most of the day it is just below, even when it's 25 degrees. It's because it's all insulated. It is cooler.
It's controlled.
It's controlled. So, what a rigmarole for that. And you're like, I would get if it was that day or something. Then,
yeah.
but the eggs are eaten.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
But it's just that's the kind of stuff that it's not like the hens are fed, they're watered, they're well looked after, the eggs are clean, everything's nice and tidy. They don't care about that.
No,
I mean, they do.
Well, they do. But I mean, to play devil's
Yeah.
advocate a bit, because I like to throw them in a mix. Is one good thing about it is that it's black and white.
Aye, well that's
So 20 degrees is the temperature.
Aye.
Stick below it, you're fine. Go above it, you're no.
Aye.
It's not like it's not like it's open to opinion
I know.
Aye.
and judgment.
But
I like that though.
Yeah, so do I. But for me, it makes no sense them stopping them selling the eggs now.
Aye,
when
yes,
the
No,
temperature's fine.
absolutely agree. And I would say there should really be a bit more built into it to say a tolerance of right. Well, that's a warning.
Aye.
If that goes over that again,
If that happens again, you get. But
Or if it was 2
but-
days in a row.
But it's like
Yeah.
if you get like right, we'll give you 6 months to install an air conditioning. Like you can't sell eggs until this is in.
Exactly.
And I was like,
Exactly. The
right.
common
Yeah.
sense.
So I've
more
got
common
I've
sense.
got a
Yeah.
couple of days, need to phone some guys up, get it all pictures in for you, right? And all right, tick box, you can sell eggs again. That was you're fine.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's just a lot of stress and hassle, like stuff. That's what you want it done by, and then back onto the general day to day.
Yeah.
So it's just wee things like that are a bit annoying, and it is like if we get 2 sheds or 3 sheds, we will probably like I would say to Chelsea, you could maybe be the secretary and deal with this. 'Cause I
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
be
great.
Yeah.
Something full time. Absolutely.
and
To
have
be
it-
fair, mate, if you've got 2 or 3 sheds, why is she working?
she can run.
Is that not the real
We'll
question?
need to cut this, but
Okay. I see. You don't. I steady.
she's like, oh, maybe I can just like, nah, you're doing well, because she does well at her job. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got own debt here, I need all the money.
But also a couple of free nights in the house a week is absolutely class too. Cut that. Put that in. I'll cut that. So I mean, we're at around 15 already. But to be fair, like,
Is it?
mate, you're
Flies
flying
by.
it honestly because like you're. It's great when people come out and they're just so open about
I know,
everything.
it makes
like,
it so
like
easy.
you're chatting away great there, and you'll be just opening people's minds to that side of farming. On you go.
Sorry, I just got a question. What is your monthly payments?
It's
Like, say
just shy of
10,000.
10. It's about 9,900. That's
Oh,
the
I'm
one
sorry, I
interesting bit because it's variable rate. I was just asking, because of this whole tariff thing. I was saying, see if we were to fix this, like how quickly can we fix it? And he says, with Oxbury, we don't actually do an offer for a fixed rate at the minute because there's no demand. Everything the start of the year was suggesting it was going to go down. Obviously, if demand rises, we'll bring something out. But he says for every 0.25% it falls, it's $3,500 a year for me. Less interest.
Yeah,
And that's a good-
mine's has went. I'm sure mine's has went. I'm getting misquote this year now. I think mine's has went from 5,400 to £5,099. So basically,
it's a big-
I basically
it's-
had 300 quid off already, and we've only been in
That's great.
December 4
4
months.
They're saying, I think they're planning another 2
But you're
cuts
worrying
year.
about this trade tariff's going to be good for interest rates, mate.
Oh, I hope
Because
so.
we're heading towards a recession, and
hopefully.
recession tanks interest. Like,
Aye.
because to get the country spending
Aye,
again,
well,
and
they're saying
buying-
they're planning 2 cuts, they're now planning 3, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh, you don't want
That's-
to
that's
you don't
good.
want to fix it now.
Yeah.
No,
No,
no.
for
nah.
sure.
So it was just because of the tariffs.
Always seek independent legal advice. Don't go by what Cammy said and fed by farmers.
Do you see me putting the farm up for sale? I was like, I just listened to Cam.
Aye,
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
right.
He said just
Sell it.
crack on. No, don't fix it.
Don't fix. Boom, 15%. Like, oh,
That was another thing. When we were buying the farm, like we didn't need all the land, so we went to bank. Oh, we're looking to buy this. How much? So we did the finances, and they said, "Well, look, you can actually afford it all." And then going back to Glenrath, they said, "Well, look, just buy it all, and if you go through hard times, sell some off."
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
That's how they kind of worked it before. That's how Sir John would buy a farm, and if he couldn't afford it, one of his biggest accomplishments was they bought their first farm over in Peebles, him and his wife, and they couldn't afford the repayments. I think just the way money was going. So I mean, he cut every tree down the farm. He sold all the wood. He did everything. Still couldn't. So he had to sell off a bit of land. And then I think they got into the pullets and eggs at the same time, not long after. So they started making a bit of money and turnover, and he started selling eggs around Edinburgh. It was a really good story. But that was in the 1960s. And in 2010, he bought that bit of land back, and he said it was one of his biggest achievements.
Oh, that's so nice.
He got this little land back that he had to sell back in the 60s, And that's it's like one of them ones.
Yeah,
so.
full circle.
But they said they were good with me. They gave him a bit as advice and said, look, just get it all. And if you go through tough times, you can always sell off the couple fields or the couple fields. And if you're struggling, if the egg prices crashes and you're... but another thing as well, my mindset was every penny into the bank. But your rich dad, poor dad, is that right?
Aye.
Rich dad, poor dad.
Yeah.
No, like...
I mean, I think the guy's actually a bit of a fanny about his books.
But
He makes good points.
Like
Yeah.
if you can keep a bit to pay that off and then keep investing the rest into more.
Oh, I mean, I'm a big believer, and Iona does a lot of our banking, so she can tell you, because we're in overdraft in 2 different accounts now. But I'm a big believer of like money in the bank's losing money.
Aye, pretty
Like
much.
it's just going backwards. Like if you've got money sitting in the bank, it's not making you any money.
Aye.
Like 3% on your
Aye,
money,
when you're
or
paying
whatever you get
6%
on your mortgage.
Aye,
If
it's like,
at the minimum overpay your mortgage.
Aye.
Because it's over, and I think he talks about this too, does he? I can't just remember now. This might be somebody else. But overpaying your mortgage is actually the best savings account you can have.
Aye, because it's the highest interest.
It's the highest
you'll save
interest.
on, aye.
And generally speaking, you can get it back out if need be.
Aye.
You can remortgage.
Yeah.
Aye.
You know, if you get your balance sheet to say that, you're so much equity, generally speaking, you can get it back out.
Aye.
If bad times happen, hopefully you don't need it back out. But actually, if you're going to save money, don't put it in a savings account.
Aye.
Overpay your mortgage.
I think our initial plan was...
But in your case, don't overpay your mortgage. Get hen sheds.
Well, hen sheds, a good thing with Glenrath is they'll fund the whole hen shed.
Right.
And they don't... I don't know if they do it everywhere else. I'm not sure if I should talk about it, but they don't ask us for any security.
Yeah, okay.
Like the first shed, it was just like don't worry about it. Here, just as long as it's in the contract that all our eggs. Basically, they said in the contract, if you don't have it paid off for 10 years, you'll get an extra 5 years. So if you don't have it paid off after 15, you'll get sacked, and we'll come and run it until it's paid off because you're obviously doing something.
Right.
Pretty wrong.
okay,
If you're not
yeah,
getting paid off in 15,
Yeah.
we'll come and run it for you.
Yeah.
And once it's paid off, you can keep the shed and we'll walk away. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
So that they get their money back, essentially.
Yeah.
That's how they work it. But they
Yeah.
didn't ask for security, which is a huge thing, because like if we want to put the second one up, it's just like we'll finance it. So we'll try and pay obviously as much as we can, but they'll finance the bulk part of it, and then we'll pay it off with eggs.
Yeah.
And the same if we want to do a third one. Again, they're not, because the security is already away at the bank. We can't say, we'll give you this land in
Yeah.
the new farm,
Yeah,
because the
yeah,
bank's
yeah.
already got it.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
So it's quite handy that they give you that option. I think there's a few others that actually do the same.
Yeah.
Especially when it is so much money. It's like, I think it's 1.6 million we spoke about ish.
After this new shed.
For the new shed, and then I think every time you change flock, it's £5 a bird. £53 a bird is what I get told by Oxbury to build a hen shed. It's £53.
That's what it costs you to build one.
That's the kind of going rate at the minute.
Right,
But
okay.
Glenrath said you can do it cheaper if you spec it lower. You just
Okay.
you maybe have to work a bit harder, but there's one or two things, I don't know.
Less
Yeah.
automation, a bit less automation. a
Yeah,
bit more.
like you get these big things like it's pallet stackers. So I don't know if Alan has them. Basically, the eggs are stacked into trays of 6, and then you put them in. You stack a pallet as you're working, which I think is a good thing because you build a bit of shoulder muscle and stuff. It's a wee bit of work. It keeps you active. If you're just standing at a belt, say in a cold
Yeah,
winter's
so
day,
monotonous.
you're like your feet start going numb.
Aye.
Whereas if you're doing a bit of manual labour in between stopping doing this, it works. But some of these sheds they put these automated stackers in now, so you can just stand at a belt and everything else is done for you. But it costs a lot of money for this thing, and you're just standing at a belt. It means you're just getting cold, really.
Yeah.
It's good to have a bit of movement
Physical
about
exercise.
you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
it gets you a
That's
day's
why I
work
work
at
with
it.
sheep, mate. Keep me physically
Keep you
fit. Aye. Keep me warm in the winter.
Well, I might get into sheep. I might message you. We never know.
Aye.
Yeah.
Keep branching out.
Yeah.
Now, listen, we're at an hour 20. I've got to think about the edit of this bloody
Right,
thing.
okay.
It's a big job. But honestly, I think it could blather away here for ages. I think it's been fantastic.
Aye.
Yeah, and I think we'll push folk towards your social media. Hopefully, you can grow that.
I'll
Keep
try
doing what you're
and-
doing. Get folk at shows in the packing bit. Shows.
I've
Yeah,
never
folk
done.
are
I've never
nosy,
done the
yeah.
hens. I don't think there's anyone done heads, but I think it's because it's so commercial. I don't know if folk.
Well,
want
no, but
to
it's
sort
okay.
of-
But,
It's
but,
Do you get the
Interesting.
Welsh
But
farmer? You
aye,
ever seen
the-
him?
aye,
He does a
aye.
wee bit and bobs.
that Welsh farmer we're talking about on Instagram, he absolutely does it. He's a good lad,
Aye.
and he shows inside the pack and the shed and all that kind of stuff.
He's quite interesting because you see, I'm nosy as well. I like to see other folks set up.
Yeah,
Johan, I always forget his Welsh name. I was just trying to get it right there. Johan.
Is that, I've met him
it's-
before. I met
yeah.
him at the Welsh one time. I went and fucking no, you have. I'm like you. I've got a Dutch tractor in the hen shed and stuff. And have a laugh. And he's all right. He's quite brand new. He was a bit like, who the hell are you?
He's sound. No, right. That's mate. Fantastic stuff. Honestly, thanks for coming in.
Aye, thanks for this.
And I'm sure people will love watching your stuff on TikTok.
I remember what you said. Don't act like someone's pointing a gun behind the camera.
I have a laugh at
because I feel like that is how it is. Like,
Then you'll get more comfortable. The more you do it, you'll get more
that's what I would
comfortable.
hope. Because
Would you do you film it like that?
No.
Chelsea has
The
been
person
filming
with
it
the
for
gun
me.
has the phone.
Chelsea's been filming me.
Think you'd be better if you're actually just doing it yourself.
Well,
It's harder to see anything though.
she's
Yeah.
what she wants to do.
He's talking through like past
Doing
paddocks and
different
whatever.
things, yeah.
She's wanting to really push it, and I'm just like, you do it.
Yeah, she's making it as easy as she can for you.
You write the script, and I'll just. No, it's not a script, but you
No,
just
No, I
talk
know.
You pick
about
the subject.
this and that,
Yeah.
and just talk as what you know about it and stuff like
But
that.
keep them short and sharp. Keep them 60 seconds.
Aye,
Just be
'cause
like,
she said a TikTok.
here's our pala here. We're using a 6-a-side swing over. What are you using?
It's an 8 doubled up, so 16.
Right, aye. So 8-a-side parlour here.
I don't know if I show the parts so rusty. And
No, but folks
so
real.
old.
Folk
It's
are
real,
into
mate.
it.
that's why I'm like, I'll do the dairy once. We'll do TikTok once I've
It's
got a new
currently
parlour.
taking us 3 hours to milk the cows, which is
Because
far too
people
long.
want to see that transition. Like, I think people want to see the growth. So,
Aye.
like, oh, this is
It's just like, I'm just like, I don't want to
Mate,
show them that.
folk are sick of folk showing off on social
yeah,
media.
the big shiny fancy machines. No,
Aye.
show the rust.
Show the rust.
Yeah.
All the TikTok's full of folks showing off about how great they are and how they've got all this great stuff. Whereas, all right, you're heading that way with the hen sheds and that, and I'd be like, this dick making a fortune off my hens. But at least you can show them, look, it's not all great. We still milk cows in this old parlour.
Yeah.
I'll show them the 4 eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll put folk
That
off.
will.
It's like we could have built a new parlour, but there's much more money in eggs. Let me show you the hen shed.
Aye.
But no, Thomas, pleasure, mate. Thanks for coming in. And we're back. Did you learn much?
Did I learn much? I learned some things. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Why did you have to think about it? Why not? Even if you didn't learn anything, it's much more polite to say yes.
I know. What is that about me? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I honestly think really interesting the hen shed thing. Like, I mean, see if I had a big farm, why are folk not looking at getting hen sheds?
I know, it makes sense. Sorry, can I just go back to that there when you were saying it's more polite to say yes? Do you know why and why I do that with you? Because you would then come back and be like, what did you learn? So I need to make sure I've actually got something in there.
Yeah,
That's
I think, yeah, okay, yeah, you've got to be ready.
yeah, hen sheds. That's the way to go.
It seems to be. Why do we not have hen sheds on Chris Flat?
Not sure.
To be fair, when you're getting an all blackie ewe putting out 2 lambs that make 130,000 between them, do you need eggs? Do you know what I mean? Like if Alan next door could do blackies like your dad could do blackies, he wouldn't need eggs either.
No,
that.
do you know what it is? I think it's, again, if there was another generation coming through, it would be looking at, okay, how can we, do more? Whereas, I suppose for Dad, he's not looking he's not looking for more work or, to take on more staff.
100%. I jest, of course. And Alan's blackies are almost as good as yours anyway. Like, so, do you know what I mean? It's not that big a gap, really. And if he sticks in, he might get a chance to buy them all someday. Anyway.
What's your favourite way to have an egg?
Favourite way to have an egg? Do you know what? Fried.
Is it
I
just a classic fried?
I just like a fried egg.
Yeah.
I'm right into the new. You cook your steak and then you just fire a couple of eggs in the pan after.
Right, okay, cooking the juices.
Cook it in the juices, and obviously we put a wee bit of butter in the steaks too, and it just cooks. And I think they call them dirty eggs or something like that. They come out with all the wee black bits on them.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love a fried egg.
Yeah.
Hard to beat, like.
Yeah.
Can scrambled, it's such a balance between, seasoning and overdoing it, and it gets rubbery.
Low and slow is the way to go with scrambled.
Yeah, poached is all right, but it's like,
Could be more. Omelette, I like an omelette myself.
but then an omelette's not so much about an egg.
No, you're right. You're right. It's the flavourings that come
It's
from elsewhere.
the other ingredients. Whereas
on
a fried egg on its own is just a beautiful thing.
Even a boiled egg.
Well, I used to like boiled eggs with the wee soldiers. We'd cut soldiers, we cut up bits of toast,
Yeah,
cut them in
yeah.
strips and you dunk them in.
So nice.
Used to have that, or egg in a cut, you put it in a
I
cup,
was just about to say egg in a cup.
Wee bit of
Mum
butter.
used to- yep. So
mash
nice.
it up, your wee soldiers into it. Oh, that was good. Those were the
Yeah.
days, I tell you. Anyway, yeah, big egg fans, and Thomas brought us a heap of double yolkers there
Yeah, I
as
know.
well, so we'll get stuck into them. The boys will like them until their hens start laying eggs. But anyway, we'll probably wrap it up there. A long enough
Yep.
podcast for this week. Are we getting a Friday chat out?
Potentially start answering some of these questions.
You got some questions? We'll do a quick 15-minute or one after this.
Okay.
Right, guys, there'll be a chat out at some point. You never know when. Anyway, thanks again to our sponsors. Thanks to Herdwatch and thanks to Crystalyx for sponsoring the podcast again and being with us in spirit. I've been Cammy,
I've been Iona.
and we are all
Fed
fed
by
by
farmers.
farmers.